A federal jury in Los Angeles Wednesday found that a woman's rape claim against NBA star Derrick Rose and two friends was not credible, handing the men a victory in a high-stakes civil trial. Rose said in a statement that he's thankful that the jury rejected the lawsuit that accused them of gang raping Rose's ex-girlfriend when she was incapacitated from drugs or alcohol, and that it was important to prove he did not do what he was accused of. Stephen A., where does Derrick Rose go from here?
Well, he's got to feel very relieved right now that this case is obviously behind him since he was not found liable. But I think that, he has to accept the reality of two things. Number one, the image that he once had is gone. Fair or not, based on the accusation alone. If you recall, Max, remember how pristine this dude's image was? Like, I don't know any way to put it other than he is the closest NBA athlete to Tim Tebow that I ever saw in terms of being considered just an innocent, great kid. Well, you don't look at him like that anymore. Now you sit up there and you say, okay, he wasn't liable and wasn't guilty of what he was being accused of, according to the courts. Fine. But you're going to remember that. And then that gets you to his game. And when you look at his game, the Derrick Rose that was the league MVP in 2011, the Derrick Rose that had you believing that somehow, some way Miami, with LeBron James and those boys, weren't going to be able to go to 4 straight NBA finals. The Derrick Rose that really was in the discussion with Russell Westbrook as arguably the most athletic point guards in the history of the National Basketball Association. That's no longer the case. And so now we find ourselves looking at him as just a regular old player that's got some stuff to prove, that's got to remind us all of what this dude is capable of. Last year he played 66 games. After playing 51 the year before, and you remember, he missed the entire 2012-2013 season and then came back 2013-2014 and only played 10 games. So over the course of 164 games, he played in a grand total of 10 games over a 2-year period before playing 51 in 2014-2015 and playing 66 last year, where he averaged 16 with 4.7 assists per game. New York needs him to be more, to do more, and we know he wants that money. But we also heard him talk about how he wants to be able to walk to school with his kid in 10 to 12 years from now. So we're waiting to see this dude elevate his game, and he would need to do just that to also elevate his image. Because if he doesn't, he's just going to be an average player, and then everybody's going to remember what he was accused of. And that's not something he wants, particularly in the New York market.
First, Let's start in the beginning with the charges and what just happened. He maintained his innocence the entire time. Many people who looked at it felt like he had a good case, or rather the case against him was probably not going to win. And in fact, that's what happened. He was found not liable of this, which is a very serious thing. So I don't want to just brush that off as though we're not dealing with that as though it's a serious thing before we get to basketball, because it is. And to your point, he was the guy everyone used to love to love. You know, there are the love-to-hate guys, and there are a couple athletes here and there who everyone seems to love to love. That was Derrick Rose, and that's gone forever, along with the player he used to be, due to catastrophic injury in the case of his actual game. But I want to get to what maybe he can be now going forward. I think that you look at him in the second half of last season, he was better than in the first half, it seemed to me. Significantly better. He was getting better as the season went on. And now this year, not only with a new start in New York and now found not liable of this serious situation, now with a new start with Joakim Noah, who was obviously brought in for him, with two other excellent offensive options. Let's not forget when he was 22 years old and won the MVP that should have gone to LeBron James. But nevertheless, Derrick Rose performed at a very, very high level for a 22-year-old to even be in consideration, let alone win that award. The following season, before he got hurt, he was better. He was progressing in his career. He was now more of a pure point guard than he had been even when he won the MVP. It was amazing to watch, age 22, 23. Then he has this catastrophic injury, and he's never never fully the same. Part of the reason he's not the same is physical. A part is psychological. How hard do you push it? Well, now one more season removed from the catastrophic injury, I'd expect his psychological state with respect to his injury to be better. The fact is he's in a contract year, and he's with a team where Carmelo Anthony and Kristaps Porzingis can do a lot of things offensively, and Courtney Lee can spot up and shoot and do all those kind of things, and Joakim Noah's there. He's familiar with them to do the dirty work and all that stuff. I think there is real reason, health permitting, to be optimistic about Derrick Rose, what he can be for the Knicks. What does that mean? That means, let's say, 75% of the player he was at his best. 75% of a prime Derrick Rose is a hell of a player. And I think that he can be that if he stays healthy. I think there's reason for optimism with Derrick Rose.
I disagree with you that 75% of Derrick Rose is still a prime player. I don't believe that. And here's why I don't believe that. Because Derrick Rose's game was predicated on athleticism, his ability to get to the basket, etc. Now, there's no doubt that he's an upgrade from Jose Calderon. I mean, who the hell is it? You might be. But the bottom line is, and Jose Calderon's a very nice guy, just not a very good player as far as I'm concerned any longer.
Right,
anymore. He once was, but not anymore. But 75% of Derrick Rose, 75% of Steph Curry or somebody like that, yes, because they could shoot. But because of athleticism, 75% is not good enough. You need more from Derrick Rose than 75% if the New York Knicks and him are going to make the kind of noise we hope they're going to make.
One last thing I want to add before we go to break. I thought it was kind of embarrassing and tasteless for the jurors to be taking pictures after with the seriousness of the allegations, treating it like a photo op, and then the judge saying, play well, but not against the Lakers. Like, be professional. Such a groupie comment with such a serious matter.
It's not just about the professionalism. It brings into question their objectivity in judging the case.
Of course. Even better point. When we come back, more First Take. Stay here. All eyes were on Kevin Durant this offseason after he made the controversial decision to leave the Thunder to create a super team with those Warriors. Since making the move, Durant and his former teammate Russell Westbrook's relationship has completely fallen apart. And in the latest Rolling Stone magazine, Katie explains they never had much of a friendship at all, saying, we had our own cliques that we hung with on the road. Russell had his guys, I had mine. It was never a bad thing. It's just how it was. Stephen A., has this article changed your mind on your opinion of Durant, hearing that they weren't that close to begin with?
Not at all, because it was never about him not staying in Oklahoma City. And I think that that's where everybody confuses my position with that of a Charles Barkley or Reggie Miller and others. Every time he speaks, it seems to be some kind of shot at Oklahoma City. We have to remember that when Russell Westbrook went down, Kevin Durant was in the semifinals against Memphis. They won one game and then lost 4 straight. It was without Russell Westbrook. Together, they went to an NBA Finals. Together, they were within one game of another NBA Finals last year. But he has every right to decide that he wants to leave, that he doesn't want to be there anymore. There were people in defense of Kevin Durant. There have been many people who have looked at Sam Presti, who has established himself as just a great executive in the game, by the way. They felt like, hey, while other teams were getting better, Oklahoma City was interested in getting younger. Gone were the James Hardens of the world, the Reggie Jacksons of the world, people like that. They seemed to be a team devoid of that quintessential third option, which is something that frustrated Durant apparently from time to time, which was something that was alluded to in this Rolling Stone article. But in the end, all of that makes the point for why he left Oklahoma City. And I think it's a slick effort to change the narrative. So let me bring everybody back home. No one should have a problem with Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City. Kevin Durant had the right to leave Oklahoma City. He gave them 9 great years. He never cheated them. He was a perennial all-star and superstar in this game. Leaving Oklahoma City is not the narrative anyone should focus on. I disagree with Barkley on that front. I disagree with Reggie Miller on that front. All of those guys. I have no issue with Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City. It's who you chose to go to. Choosing to go to an already established champion who should have been 2-time champions. with already a two-time league MVP and a superstar, with already the greatest shooting backcourt in history. When you are that great, with the power in your hands to make that much of a difference in terms of balance of power, whereas you could have gone to at least 4 or 5 other teams and made them the instant favorites, you chose to go to the team that just beat you a month earlier. That's the issue. That is the thing that has somebody like me looking at Kevin Durant. Has nothing to do with him leaving Oklahoma City. And as it pertains to Russell Westbrook, his boy, all right, y'all might not have been that close, but that's not the impression you gave. And at the end of the day, he was your teammate for 8 years and an all-star just like you. Max, you and I just started working together. If I leave, my brother, you're going to be the first to know. It's just that simple, because I'm not going to do that.
You can't take the L's anymore, huh?
Thing to do.
You can't take the L's anymore. It's only been a couple of months, and you're already ready to.
Whatever.
Look,
I ain't leaving.
I want to address first the dynamic Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and I think it comes down to this: the beta can't be better than the alpha. You know, big brother can't, or little brother Westbrook can't really, in a psychological sense, be big brother. That's the problem. Beta, which is Kevin Durant's personality compared to Westbrook, it seems, at least on the court, is better. Durant's better than Westbrook, but he doesn't have that same personality. I think that's always going to be a problem on any team. It was even a problem when LeBron first joined the Heat, in my opinion. He had more of a beta personality at the time on that team than Dwayne Wade, but he was the better player, and it caused chemistry problems that they had to resolve the following season when they finally won the championship. That's one. 2, you mentioned when Westbrook went down, Durant won a game and then got bounced 4 straight. When Durant went down, they missed the playoffs. I mean, Westbrook balled out of control, and they missed the playoffs, period. Durant's this incredible force on the basketball court, and that's why you and others have a problem with him specifically joining the Warriors. I want to get to that point now. It's not just that he left. He could leave Westbrook. It's his decision. He was forced to play in OKC by the draft and everything. For the beginning of his career, he's finally a free agent, free to make his own decisions. Your problem is with the decision he actually made, not to leave, but to join that team, the Warriors. Let's not forget, the Thunder had to choke for the Warriors to win. They were not an evenly matched team. He would have gotten more credit, and he had to be aware of that, by staying on the Thunder. At the following season, and with Billy Donovan, they were actually making strides past, I think, where Brooks was. Even though they got to 1 finals with Brooks, it looked like, hey, they have a real future. Maybe they could win a championship. And he left. He had to be aware that there was going to be criticism coming along with that. Why the Warriors? It comes down to this, and I want to address Charles Barkley and Reggie Miller and others. Why the Warriors? Because that's what it takes to beat LeBron James. Because LeBron James is way better than every other basketball player in the world. And when I started to forget that last year, looking at Steph Curry winning the MVP, LeBron reminded me and others like me, no, it ain't close. It's LeBron and then 10 different levels, and then everybody else, including KD and Steph Curry, and they recognized that. KD recognized that and joined up with the Warriors. That's a response to LeBron James' greatness. In terms of Barkley not ever doing that in his career, according to him, love me some Charles Barkley. Let me tell you the smart move for Barkley and Reggie Miller and guys like that in their careers. What they should have done if they wanted a championship, and they did it the good old-fashioned way and didn't get a championship, was that year when they were free agents and the Knicks with Patrick Ewing looked like they were making moves on the Bulls, and they wound up with Larry Johnson and Chris Childs in free agency. Remember that year? Or Allen Houston. If that would have been Reggie Miller and Charles Barkley on the Knicks, maybe they get a championship. So, Max, I'm not knocking their decision. They chose to do it their way, but they are now ringless because you weren't going to overcome Michael Jordan any other way. What I'm telling you is LeBron is this era's Jordan. If you want to beat him, you better join up forces with a team like the Warriors, which is what KD did.
Max Kellerman, if KD had decided to go to Miami with Hassan Whiteside, who was willing to shove aside an additional $4 to $5 million to ensure that they could get KD, and Dwayne Wade, as a result, would have stayed in Miami, Miami could not have beaten Cleveland?
Nope. Would have been a good series, though. You know, you and I both know it's a tough out for Cleveland. That's all.
Hold it. Hassan Whiteside, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant,
Dragic,
and that crew in Miami could not. Dragic, And that crew in Miami could not have beaten
No.
Cleveland?
No, when push comes to shove, LeBron would beat him, and we
Let's
all
move
know
on.
it. Stephen A., who would you
I
pick?
don't know
Who would
that.
you pick?
I don't know
when
that.
When push comes to shove,
No.
we would both be sitting here. We'd be in the pre-production meeting when the playoffs rolled around.
Max, you
and we'd
just
be
talking.
like, how are we going to talk
you
about this? We
asking
both
questions
agree
and then
Cleveland's
answering
going to win.
You asking questions and just you asking questions and answering it yourself.
I'm good like that.
telling you, if Kevin Durant was with D Wade and the rest of the crew in Miami, if they were all together in Miami, I would have picked them to beat Cleveland. I would have. Absolutely. D Wade with Durant.
Yeah.
Hold on. And by the way, because remember, we didn't know that Chris Bosh was going to have the health issue that he had. But I'm saying
yes,
to you,
we did.
I'm thinking at the time, because remember, they were saying we were going to leave Chris Bosh out.
Was healthy, yes, with Whiteside and Bosh and Dragic and Durant and Wade, they would have had a shot to win. But we knew Bosh wasn't healthy.
No, we didn't. I'm telling you, we didn't. That's
Guys,
what I'm
we
saying.
gotta go to break.
At the moment.
We got to go to break.
How does he handle the big moment?
You have to take everything into consideration. For what?
Come on, dude.
He sued everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Now we have to watch what's actually happening.
USA.
I'm good.